Welcome to Sensational Views. This is your girl, Sensational. So, what we have in the celebrity headlining news is Simone Biles and her husband claiming that he's the catch in their marriage. If you really listen to what I said Simone Biles' husband, and everybody's headline that's running this story is saying the same thing Simone Biles' husband. So, I'm really not sure how he's the catch in their marriage when nobody knows his name. We're going to get into the story. So it looks like these two newlyweds went on a podcast. So basically, her husband, which I can't seem to retain his name, so I'm going to have to pull it up and look at it. So his name is Jonathan Owens. That's her husband. And he is a safety for the Green Bay Packers. Okay, so they go on this podcast, and basically, he goes on to telling their story on how they first met. Okay, so the host asks Biles' husband, how in the hell did you pull Simone Biles? So Jonathan, her husband, goes and says he didn't know who she was back in 2020 when they first connected and matched on this dating app. Now, I'm having such a hard time believing that. Even though I'm not a hardcore Olympic fan or watcher, I still know who the main people are, especially if they got endorsements and was on the Wheaties cereal box. It's hard to miss, especially with Simone Biles because she was in the news, she was in all the magazines, she was headlining everywhere. She's a household name. She's went to meet the president. She's got all these gold medals. She does so many flips that they were naming flips after her and jumps after her because she was doing so many flips nobody's done before. So it's very hard. And for him to actually be an athlete and not know who she is very, very telling to me. Even the host and the co-host that interviewing him, they're athletes as well, ex football players. And that's why their faces were scrunched up in unbelief. Like, how do you not know who she is? Maybe it's a different era, different time. Because in my time, being Olympic gold winner was an actual achievement. That's something that people they really wanted to actually achieve and do. Even if you got into the national level or whatever, part you played in sports, people from, basketball and on, they always wanted to go back and play in the Olympics and represent for the United States. But maybe it's a different era, and maybe this generation doesn't look at the Olympics that way. But I beg to differ because they found tweets from him back in 2012 stating that he actually watched the Olympics. He was all into it where he knew that they had a Asian coach over the women's, the gymnastic parts for the women. I didn't even know that. Okay. But he goes on to say that he wasn't aware of who she was, and that he just, went on this app that one of his friends told him about. Okay, then he mentions, I'm like, let me see who this is. I never paid attention to gymnastics, so it piqued my curiosity. So when he said that, when I listened to the podcast and when he said that, my mind just went to, for some reason, just went to the bedroom with him. When he said, I never paid attention to gymnastic, so it piqued my curiosity. It just seems like, oh, she's, flexible. I want to see what, I want to see what that can do, in the bedroom. That's where my mind went to. Maybe it's just me. Let me know in the comment section when you watch the interview. Do you get that? Because it seems like, boys talking, locker room talk. Anyway, he checks out her Instagram. He sees that she has a whole lot of Instagram followers. So he goes and he says, oh, okay, she's got to be good. And that he says on the podcast. Even the host, he goes on, he says, how did you know, or, he finds it, impossible that he didn't know who Biles was at first. So this is him explaining, the reason why he didn't know who she was. So he goes on and he says, when she won the Olympics, I was in college and we didn't have NBC. We didn't have Olympics channels. And we were in training camp in late July and early August. So he goes and he says, so I'm not paying attention. I never would have had a moment where I would have watched her compare. That's his explanation on the reason why he didn't know who she was. And this is what he's saying in the podcast. He's over there showing his dimples and blushing and everything. And he goes, oh, yeah, she messaged me first. And he said, when his friend told him about this app, which is an app that most of the celebrities use, it's just for celebrities, for them to hook up with each other. He went on this app, and you have to remind you, this was during COVID. And if you can remember back in COVID, everything was shut down. You weren't able to do anything. So it just kind of comes off that he was just bored and he was looking for something to get into. And that he did. He got into Simone Biles. He said that, he wasn't even really paying attention to the app like that. He got on there. He ended up matching with her. That was it. He said he went on about his day. He went on ahead and took his shower and wasn't really paying attention to the app. He said when he got back to his phone, he seen she blew up the app, messaging him, trying to get at him. And this is what he's stating in this podcast. And him and all these guys, and they're just sitting there laughing. And when you look at the podcast, you think that she's not even in the room how they're talking. It just seems like the boys or the bros are talking, doing locker room talk. It doesn't even seem like he's even talking about his wife. It doesn't even seem like he's talking about his girlfriend. It seems like he's talking about a hookup that he had, with his boys. And they pan over and you see that she's actually in the room and she's grinning and skinning like a Cheshire cat and batting her eyes like this man is telling the world from the mountaintops that you're really special and that you're the love of his life. But it's the complete opposite. Everything that is spilling out his mouth, it's horrible. And I'm listening to it with straight up cringe, and I'm getting secondhand embarrassment like, oh my God, can you believe this? So let's get back. It goes on. And so, he said that it was during COVID and she blew him up or whatever on this app. Whatever. Then they began texting back and forth. Now, he was in Houston and he said that she lived all the way in the suburbs, but she came and she drove 45 minutes to come and see him. He didn't drive to go see her. She came almost an hour out of her way to come see him. So, the host says he asked him whether he believes that he's the catch in the relationship with Biles. So this is when Jonathan says, I always say that the men are the catch. And then he goes, I was fighting against his natural feeling of being afraid to commit at this point in his life. He goes and he says, I'm like, it's kind of early, but it happens when you least expect it. And so he says, when they hung out, they hit it off instantly and they laughed the whole night. Okay. And the rest is supposed to be, history or whatever. Yeah. My opinion is I'm not going to go too hard on Simone because she's still young. She's 26 and he's 28. She still is very naive. And even though she is 26, she comes off as being way younger than that. So she's still in the fairy tale mode. And, I'm just going to let her have it. I'm going to drink the Lulu juice with her and go with the fantasy and let her have her fun. This is something that she's going to have to learn, unfortunately, the hard way. And yeah, I hope when it finally does hit her, she actually learns from the mistake. This guy here, ever since she even, brought him on the scene, because I never knew who he was. The first time I even laid eyes on him was him standing by her. If she never brought him to light, I would have never known who he was. He's not a star player. Physically, he's not going to be lasting too much longer in the football arena. Physically, he's being hurt and everything like that. So his body alone is not going to too much, be able to put up with all the strenuous that comes with, being on the football field, tackling and taking those hits and stuff. And he's getting, older in age. And it just seems like he's trying to use her for a retirement because she does pull in more money. And not only for money, also for status. He says that he doesn't know who she is, but yeah, okay, let's go. We don't know who she is, and you live under a rock. I'm sure because he just got signed just recently to a new team, and it's only a year contract. And what that means is that's a trying contract. They said they're going to try you out for a year to see how you pull your weight on the field. And if you don't cut it, they're going to cut you. Even though like I say, even though he's acting like he doesn't know who she is, trust me, the coach know who Simone Biles is. He knows it. The GM knows who Simone Biles is. So when they're picking you and you're going through to try out, and let's say it's you and another guy, and let's say, they're looking at the factor, okay, if you and this other guy, y'all have the same, ranking as far as skills on the field. And when it boils down to, because I like to look at stuff in real life, if you're at a job and you're applying for a job, this is stuff, if you know somebody in that company, you're more likely to get the job the same way they know who Simone Biles is. They know your story. They know that you just got married. They know y'all are newlyweds and you're trying to start, a family. You're your husband and you have the famous athletic wife that represented the United States in the Olympics. You don't think they're going to go, you know what? Hey, Bob Joe, let's give him a chance. Or trust me, they're going to give you more of a chance and overlook somebody that's next to you that have the same stats as you just because of who you're with and because of your status and that you're married to her and y'all just got married and y'all just starting your life. You don't think that factor in? Oh, trust me, I think he knows that. He knows that. And he's basically, as they say these days, he's playing in our face and acting like he didn't know who she was. So that's all I have to say about this situation. Like I said, I'm across my fingers. I like Simone Biles. I'm really rooting for her. I'm hoping that this works out. I know that this guy, I hate to keep saying this guy, but I really don't know him like that. I have to actually keep looking over and seeing that his name is Jonathan Owens and really try to retain his name. But this guy, he did say that he wants to have a whole bunch of children. Thank goodness she said, I think she only wanted, two, but she's not really focused on kids right now. She's still, doing her career. I did read that in an article because just a couple of, I want to say a week ago or something, they thought when she went to one of his games that she was pregnant, and she went on ahead and told everybody, oh no, she's definitely not, pregnant. So I'm glad that children are not involved in this situation. I would like to see that this relationship evolve and, go a little longer, a couple of more years later down the line before they think about having children. Because I really don't see this ending very well, even though I really want to, drink the Lulu juice and, be happy for her. But anyway, I really want you to like and subscribe and, actually put your comments on what you think about this whole situation with Simone Biles and her husband. Anyway, I got things to do. Let's go. Hurry up, get the news. Hurry up, I have things to do. This is just my sensational news.